Welcome, book nerds, to the Marriage Stories podcast. I'm Bradley.
And I'm Bekah.
And if you're here looking for marriage advice,
all we got is couples that read together, breed together.
welcome back to the Marriage Stories podcast. The man tried to shut us down, but we aren't stopping.
We've just had a lot going on. We've been moving and vacationing.
Yeah, it's been quite the past month. So, sorry for our fan who has been missing our weekly uploads, but...
well, I feel like just moving our books alone has taken a majority of our time.
Oh my word, it's been ridiculous.
And we thought we got rid of so many.
We did. We got rid of so many books. And our shelves are still overflowing.
But, it's a good problem to have.
I suppose.
It means
it's not drugs.
Yeah, it could be drugs.
Could be drugs.
Just keep telling ourselves that.
It helps us get through the day. So welcome to our inaugural episode of the Comic Book Club.
Woo!
Now, this is May's pick because we're so far behind. But our pick was Frank Miller's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. So I've read it before. Bekah has never read it. Now, I know some people are saying that this comic book club is just a way for me to get my wife to read more graphic novels.
And by some people, you mean me.
Yes. That is exactly what I mean. Anyway, what did you think of this book?
So in general, I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars, which you're shaking your head out.
I am.
Honestly, I was mostly overwhelmed. The storyline was good. The storyline alone would have gotten more than 3 stars. Probably like 4.5.
Okay.
But
out of 5.
Out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. The artwork was not good. And the fact that there were a lot of pages with 16 panels of art and text just really overwhelmed me visually. So it made it difficult to concentrate for me. Mm-hmm. I honestly kind of wish I would have read it digitally where it only gives you 1 panel at a time. Yeah. Because it was difficult not to just look at all the tiny text bubbles. Plus, this was before I got my new prescription of glasses. But it was very overstimulating to see terrible art in 16 panels. No, I'm not even kidding. The artwork was weird.
Frank Miller's artwork is a very acquired taste.
Yeah, come and hate me if you want, because I don't feel like I have the authority to judge his art. I take it back. It's not terrible art. It's just not my favorite.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Miller's art either. To me it seems a little off, but it does have a whole aesthetic. Like one of our buddy readers on Instagram,
Jelly Sandals,
mentioned, Frank Miller has the visuals down pat. Like, he has some iconic scenes, iconic drawings. They're just not executed to the level or the style I've enjoyed.
For me, I found the artwork inconsistent, and that was one of my main qualms. Although, again, like I was saying, so I'm also reading Wonder Woman graphic novel right now, and
by Brian Azzarello.
We were talking about how how difficult it would be to draw these same things so many times and have it be right, different pictures be right next to each other, and then be consistent across the board when you're drawing them at different times. I am not an artist, so I feel like I don't really have room to judge. However, it is distracting to me when the same character is drawn and they look completely different from one panel to the next, and I feel like Frank Miller kind of had a lot of that.
Sure, that's a valid criticism, I think. Before we really dive in on the critique, which we've already been doing, but oh well, let's talk about what is this book about. So
Okay, yeah.
why don't you, this is your first time reading it, why don't you give us the, what is it about?
Well, one, it's been a little while, but
Right, we're recording this toward the end of June. We read it in May.
for fans of Batman, I feel like this is for fans of the Batman movies. So I will preface it as that because I am a fan of the Batman movies, all of them. But
That she's seen. I haven't shown her Forever or Batman and Robin yet.
okay, and I am mostly talking about the Dark Knight Rises, those ones.
The Nolan ones.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, yeah.
And the new Matt Reeves one too, correct?
Yeah, the one with Twilight guy.
Battinson.
Yeah, he did really good. Anyways, so the most recent Batman films. This book has a lot of scenes I feel like they drew inspiration from for those
Oh, definitely.
in there. So, like every Batman book, you get kind of the retelling of his childhood trauma in bits. But, unlike other Batman graphic novels that I've read, it does not spend forever on it.
Yeah, it doesn't punch you in the face with it like
Right.
it seems most do.
Yes. And then it is focusing around an election in Gotham, and you're following multiple villains. So that is something I do like about graphic novels versus movies, is they can really include a lot more villains in the issues than movies typically tend to do.
Right, where this is broken up into 4 distinct issues, it takes time to centralize each issue has a villain to the issue. It goes from Two-Face in the first one to the mutants in the second to Joker and then to Superman in the fourth.
Yeah, so anyways, it would be difficult to summarize the full novel or graphic novel, don't you think? Like, what?
Not really.
Okay, well, then you summarize. But my
Alright.
summary would basically be, it is Batman as an old man. Kind of, he's trying to retire, but all these things keep happening within Gotham, and this new election, and these new corrupt politicians and villains coming out, and the city just falling to pieces. And so he comes out of retirement as an old dude to fight crime again. The city basically is like, we need you again. And he is facing those struggles with various villains and Superman, who's like throwing shade at him at the end. That's basically the gist.
That's pretty good. Yeah, this is the choice to set this in the future is really distinct. So this allowed Miller to create more of a grizzled Batman.
Yeah, it's like Old Man Logan, but Batman.
Yes. And I think it's executed really well in that department. Superheroes have... It's like The Incredibles. You either have to work for the government or Watchmen even, or you're done.
Right.
And they will hunt you down, so you have to retire.
Right.
So, I mean, Wonder Woman's gone back to Themyscira, Superman's become a government stooge, and Batman's just retired because...
Well, because Batman in his essence was like vigilante.
Right.
So,
I think there's a line in there, something along those. Batman's dangerous. The idea of Batman is dangerous, where Superman is the one to look toward.
even though, Superman destroys entire towns in the act of saving them.
We don't talk about Man of Steel.
Ugh, I hated that movie. Anyways, I like Batman. And I liked his portrayal as an old man.
Mm-hmm.
I like...
Zaddy Bruce Wayne?
That's what I said.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. And then, so the villainization of Superman in the end is Superman's bought into working for this newly elected government.
I mean, it's Reagan.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And Batman is like, no, that's not why I do this. There's no, I do this on my own accord. I don't do this for anybody, like, telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. And Superman is basically saying, well, then you're not a superhero. Or, like, you're not doing the right thing. You are the villain. But Superman is really the villain in that instance.
Yeah.
At least from the point of view of Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, and this puts you in the frame of, you're looking at Batman through this. You're with Batman throughout the book. So you see things from his point of view. I'd be interested to see it written from Superman's. Just to kind of... It wouldn't put Bruce in as good of a light as... I mean, this doesn't put him in a great light.
No.
But would put him in a worse light than otherwise.
So, honestly, I mean, it's back to the Iron Man Captain America, like, fight in Civil War. It's the same kind of thing, almost. You know, do we censor ourselves or not? Do we subscribe to conformity or not? The mutant thing was kind of random.
Yeah. Looking at it from an outside lens, it kind of is. I mean...
I was confused. I was like, wait a second, this seems like X-Men, but this is DC, and I'm confused.
I think the intent is Miller wanted a gang situation in Gotham, which is a common thing in Gotham throughout the comics. But by making it the mutants, it's its own new thing. I don't think they've been used anywhere else other than Miller's work, and I don't find that surprising. They are a bit odd. It works for the story, but it is an odd choice.
Yeah. So why is this considered like a pillar of Batman graphic novels?
Yeah, so The Dark Knight Returns is considered like the holy grail of Batman books. One of the few.
Because I thought that I'm sorry, I can't think of the name anymore, but you've had me read it before, was like the quintessential Batman.
Oh, The Long Halloween?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of them too.
I loved The Long Halloween.
Long Halloween's great. But this one, so The Dark Knight Returns came before, and because it came before The Long Halloween could follow. This is kind of how it works. Before The Dark Knight Returns, before 86, Batman was more of a campy superhero. Think the Adam West version. That was the popular image of Batman, and so that's what he was. This flipped that on its head. So Batman immediately becomes a darker character, a more serious vigilante type character. It completely redid of who Batman is. And that's kind of why it's so important. It changed the entire trajectory of that character to make him what he is today. So, I mean, without this book, you don't get the Tim Burton Batman movie. Thus, cemented that view of Batman in popular culture outside of comics. And something interesting that Miller does throughout this book, too, is he takes those core tenets of Bruce Wayne Batman and kind of flips them on her head. So the biggest one is his no-kill rule. And by his drag-down fight with the Joker in issue 3, the Joker kills himself to frame Batman.
Yeah.
And thus changing his... he's already not liked because he'll fight the police department and he's interfering where he's not believed that he should be, but he just killed someone by everybody's believe.
Right.
And so that just changes how the public perceives him in general. And that's why Superman's called in and all that. It's very interesting choices were made throughout this to just really examine Batman through a different lens.
Yeah, examine just the vigilante model of superhero in general.
Yeah.
And I think that another thing that this book did well was, even though you said it casts them in a good light, but I don't think it does. I think it is pretty objective.
Yeah.
As opposed to subjective. Like, it's obviously you're a Batman fan if you're reading it, but it's not like saying he's all in the right either.
Sure.
It's like his personal struggles.
Sure, yeah. Like when Carrie Kelly's introduced as the new Robin, there's a lot of discussion.
That was weird. I didn't like his artwork.
Oh, there's a lot of discussion in there of how he's recruiting child soldiers to fight. And, I mean, he continues to do that through the mutants as well, and that criticism is valid. Now, so I do have a question for you. What are your thoughts on Carrie Kelly as a character?
Annoying.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Why?
Carrie Kelly is like one of the fan favorite Robins.
Really?
Yes. She's alternate universe, so it doesn't always count, and you won't normally see her in lists of favorite Robins, but like if you're going deep cuts, Carrie Kelly is one of the favorites across the fandom.
I thought, well, maybe it's just the artwork that made it biased for me, because I just thought it was off-putting.
Okay.
And I thought she was kind of annoying.
Well,
but Robin is kind of meant to be, I guess. I don't know.
I
not
can
necessarily
see that.
Annoying, but annoying's not the right word. But do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, it reeks of a 40-year-old man writing a teenage girl.
Correct.
As a character,
Stephen King.
Stephen King does it better than that, I'd say.
Yes, I'm just laughing because it always irritates me when I read middle-aged men writing teenage girls. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I'm glad I read this. I like Long Halloween way better. I would recommend Long Halloween to somebody who hasn't read Batman more than this.
Yeah, I'd say that Long Halloween is a better introduction into the
Especially
character.
now that the newest movie is also kind of very largely based on the Long Halloween.
Yeah, there are a lot of parallels. And
Also, really just liked the more cohesive story of the Long Halloween.
And the artwork.
But I mean, like, the Long Halloween, though it's different volumes, all very clearly follows the same, like, mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And this one felt like 4 separate issues, right?
Okay.
Which it is, but...
I mean, it is, but they make one cohesive
and,
story.
like,
There are, like, time jumps between each. I mean, they're maybe a week or a couple days, but there are still time jumps throughout, and that can divide it up a bit.
Which is fine. I just felt like it was not one big cohesive story as much.
Okay.
Which is fine. It doesn't have to be. It just,
Sure.
I prefer it to be.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, if you have read this book or want to read this book, let us know why and what your thoughts were. You can contact us at marriagestoriespod@gmail.com. The Marriage Stories Pod?
No, it's just marriage.
Oh my word. We're gonna edit this out.
It's just Marriage Stories Pod.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's the marriagestoriespod@gmail.com. Proof I'm right. This is the only time. Now for June's pick, which we have already started, but if you're listening to this later and want to kind of read along, our pick is Jason Aaron's Thor, his first 2 volumes. It makes one cohesive story, issues 1 through 11, The God Butcher and God Bomb.
Again, an old version of a superhero that's like...
I need to pick different books.
Zaddy Thor, everybody.
Oh my word. You did not need that in your life.
Yes, I did. And you do too, so join Comic Book Club.
Alright, we'll be back with a comic book club toward the end of this month, and...
Like next week.
Yeah, probably next week. And we'll be releasing our July pick.
Woo.
So look forward to that, and follow us on Instagram at the Marriage Stories Pod, at the Book Analyst, and at Books, Boards, and Brews for further updates. Happy reading.